Everybody.
Why don't we start? We'll have a little, why don't we just do a little clapping? Just, and it looks good on television. It just sounds good. It's Walsh College. I'm Charlie Langton. Tonight we're going to be talking about a millage proposal in the city of Troy. Before we get started today, we're going to have a statement from our city manager, John Szerlag, who will give us the whole dirt on exactly why this millage is on the ballot. Our city manager, John Szerlag. John? Thank
you. We're facing very challenging economic times right now that will change the way we deliver city services. We have to change. The major issue can be boiled down to three questions. The first one is what? What is it? The second one is how does this affect me? Third is how do we solve the problem. General fund revenues in Troy, along with just about every other city, are projected to decline every year for the next 5 years because of lower property values as well as reduction in state share of revenues. This decline in revenue means the difference between expenditures and revenues over the next 5 years for the city of Troy will total over $21 million. Because we're a service organization, over 70% of our general fund costs are related to personnel or people. You may now ask, how does this affect me? As manager, I must prepare a balanced budget. So my staff and I constructed a budget model that was based solely on a declining revenue line, which means we did not assume any increase in the millage rate. The major premise of our budget model was to protect core services of Troy, as well as most other cities, which are police, fire, and public works, and made cuts in all other areas before reducing the workforce in those core areas. The result was that our budget model closed down the library, museum, community center, and nature center. It also privatized portions of the assessing, building, engineering, planning, public works, and Parks and Recreation Department, as well as consolidated some departments in-house. Our budget model cut the workforce by 67 full-time employees, but still didn't balance the budget on a 5-year look in the future. That meant we had to cut the budget even deeper according to our model, and that began to affect core services. We'd eliminate 47 people in the police department, 3 of the 11 full-time staff members in fire, and cut 43 positions in public works. It also meant, in summary, laying off 1/3 of the workforce over the next 5 years, or about 160 full-time jobs out of our current workforce of 435 people. If this happens, Troy would be a city with essentially no quality of life elements, such as a library, community center, nature center, or museum. We'd resort to an emergency response only police department and a public works department that could not adequately maintain infrastructure or plow snow in 24 hours for our 300+ mile streets in the city. It's a bleak outlook, but my job is to advise people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. The third question is, how do we solve the problem? And that's up to the Troy voters to decide. Unlike many other cities, Troy City Council can't raise the millage rate without a vote of the people. Because of this restriction, City Council authorized a special election for February 23rd, asking the voters to authorize a millage increase of up to 1.9 mils for 5 years. This proposed millage increase alone would not solve the fiscal problem, and that's why I'm seeking approximately $2 million in employee concessions for fiscal year 10-11. The good news is that 2 unions, the police command officers and fire staff officers, have already agreed to the equivalent of a 5% wage concession beginning this January. And these employees voluntarily opened up their labor contracts to offer concessions because they know the importance of a partnership with the community and want to help us through this financial crisis. They also indicated to me that these concessions are contingent upon the successful passage of the millage. They did not have to talk to me. Their contracts do not expire until June 30th, 2011. I would emphasize that Troy has engaged in cost-cutting measures for a very long time. We already eliminated 63 positions through attrition and layoffs. I've been asked by many residents what a 1.9 millage increase means to their tax bill. The average home in Troy would see a reduction in total taxes of $392 compared to the 2009 tax bill because of a drop in value of that home. And remember, this reduction includes the 1.9 mil increase of roughly $38 in the city-only portion of the bill. Now that's for an average home in Troy. Some would be more, some would be less, contingent upon that average home. That's based on decrease in assessed value of $200,000.
All right, thank you, our City Manager John Szerlag. Thank you for that. Now we'll have an opportunity during the course of this. That was 5 minutes. That went by fast, didn't it?
Quite fast.
All right. This program is being sponsored by the Troy Leadership Coalition. Their mission